Okay, so now we're using pictures to show a combination of tenths and hundredths. Okay, so if we're looking at this hundredths chart, how many tenths are shaded? And so I know that this row that's a tenth, that's a tenth, and that's a tenth. So I know that I have 3 tenths shaded. And if I'm looking at the hundredths, all the little tiny pieces, okay, I know that this is 10, 20, and 30. So I have 30 hundredths shaded. Okay, so I could just say I have 3 tenths or I have 3 hundredths. Now, what if I were to shade 2 more? How many hundredths do I have now? So I now have 32 hundredths. How many of those are tenths? So looking at this, I have 3 tenths, right? Which is shown here, here, and here. And then how many of those are hundredths? And if I leave this in tenths and hundredths, I could say 2 of those are hundredths. Okay, so this could be my hundredths and this is my tenths. Okay, or I could say that I have 32 hundredths. Now, there's different ways that we can write this out. First, we're going to show you money and how decimals relate to money. So, a dime, okay, a dime is worth 10 cents. And so, our money system is based on tens, multiples of tens. So, it is written in the tenths place. So, a dime is 1/10. So it can be written as 0.10. A penny, which we don't see very often anymore, but when you look at your bank account, you'll always see that there is something in that position, in that hundredths position. And a penny is actually 1/100th of $1. Okay, $1 being the whole broken up into pieces, and this is 1/100th of a dollar. Okay, and it holds that position. Now there's different ways that we can look at this. So this shows me here that I do not have any dollars, but I have 73 cents. That's one way that we can write this. Now I can say 73 cents is 7 tenths and 3 hundredths, or I can say 73 hundredths. But if I'm going to the store, they're not going to say, you owe me 7 tenths and 3 hundredths. They will just say, you owe me 73 cents. And this is what I'm telling you is 73 cents is actually 7 tenths, right? Or 7, I can have 7 dimes. And the 3 pennies are 3 hundredths. Okay? And so just like we have place value with numbers like that are greater than 1, okay, so if I have, 372, you guys all know what that is, right? I have 2 ones, or I could say I have 2 $1 bills, I have 7 tens, and I have 3 hundreds, right? So it's the same going the opposite way, but what you'll notice is it starts at tenths, not ones. And in between here, that is the home of the decimal. Okay, so 68 hundredths can be written this way as a fraction and as a decimal. This is the ones place, okay, so before the decimal, and then the 6 is the tenths, and the 8 is the hundredths place. Okay, and then there's 3 different ways that we can write these numbers. So if I'm going to write let's say I'm going to write decimal 54. So I can write it as 54 hundredths, 5 tenths, and 4 hundredths, or decimal 54 hundredths. What if I was going to write 8 hundredths? So 8 hundredths would be 8 over 100. 8 hundredths would have 0 tens and 8 hundredths. And then it would have a 0 in the tenths place and an 8 in the hundredths place. What about if I had 37 hundredths? Okay, same thing, 37 over 100. I'd have 3 tenths, 7 hundredths, and it would be 0 decimal 3 7. Oh, 3 7. Okay, so you're going to have problems very similar to these on your worksheet. So make sure if you're having any problems with this, come to the Zoom session or just watch the video again.